My name is Mama Grace. I am an old woman. My hair is gray, my hands are slow, but my heart still remembers everything. And this is the day my own son and his wife locked us in their basement. The cold floor touched my bare feet. The room was dark and smelled like wet clothes. I heard the heavy door slam above us. Then the key turned. Once, twice. I froze. My chest felt tight. Daniel, I called out. My son, open the door, please. No answer. Beside me, my husband, Papa John, held my arm. His old fingers shook. We could hear footsteps on the floor above us. Slow, calm, like nothing was wrong. Then we heard her voice. Our daughter-in-law. Make sure you lock it well, she said. They can't come back up. My heart broke into tiny pieces. She was talking about us. I wanted to shout. I wanted to bang on the door. I wanted to ask why. But then my husband leaned close to my ear. In the dark, I could not see his face, but I felt his breath. Quiet, he whispered with a strange calm voice. I have a secret. A secret. Here. Now. Before I tell you the secret my husband was hiding, and how our own child could do this to us. Please, my child, if you are watching this, support this old woman. Hit the like button so this story can reach more people. Click subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the rest of this story and more emotional stories like this. And please tell me in the comments where you are watching from, your city or your country. I want to know the places where my new sons and daughters are listening to me. Now, let me go back to where it all started. Before the basement. Before the locked door. Before the secret. Months before that day, our life was simple. Hard, but simple. Papa John and I lived in a small old house. The walls were cracked. The roof sometimes leaked when it rained. But it was our home. We had lived there for many years. We laughed there. We cried there. We raised our only son there. Our son, Daniel, was our pride. When he was little, he would run around the house with no shoes, laughing with his missing front teeth. Mama, look at me, he would shout, jumping from stone to stone. I would clap and say, one day you will jump higher than all of us, my son. And he did. He went to the city. He got a good job. He wore fine shirts and shiny shoes. He sent us money sometimes and called us on the phone. Mama, don't worry, he used to say. Soon I'll take you and Dad to stay with me. You won't suffer again. Each time he said that, my eyes filled with tears of joy. Then one day, the call was different. He said, Mama, I'm getting married. I shouted so loud the neighbor heard me. Married. My son. Ah, God, thank you. He married a woman from the city. A beautiful woman. Her name was Lila. Her hair was straight, her nails always painted, and she liked perfume that filled the whole room. The first time I met her, she gave me a small hug, but her body was stiff, like she did not really want to touch me. Good afternoon, Mama, she said softly. I smiled wide and held her hands. You are welcome, my daughter. This house is your house. But I could see it in her eyes. She looked around at our cracked walls and old chairs and frowned a little, like she was smelling something bad. Still, I told myself, she just needs time. She doesn't know us yet. Years passed. Our bodies grew weaker. Our little old house grew older too. Then one rainy evening, the roof finally gave up. A loud sound shook the whole house. Crash. Water started pouring into our bedroom. I tried to save our clothes, but my back hurt. Papa John's legs were not strong enough to climb and fix anything anymore. We sat on the bed, holding each other, as water dripped all around us. Mama, he said softly, I think it's time. Time for what? I asked. Time to call Daniel. So we called. Son, I said on the phone, trying not to cry. The roof is gone. The house is not safe. We are afraid. He went silent for a moment. Then he said, "Mama, don't cry. I told you. One day I would take you in. Come and stay with us. You and Dad. I'll take care of everything." My heart lit up again. I thanked him over and over. I thanked God. But when we arrived at their big house in the city, something felt strange. The house was beautiful. White walls. Shiny floors. Big windows. Everything smelled like lemon and soap. "Wow," Papa John whispered. "Is this really our son's house?" I smiled proudly. Yes. Our boy. Daniel hugged us at the door. But his hug was quick. Come in," he said, looking behind us as if he was worried the neighbors might see. Then Lila came down the stairs. She was holding a small towel and cleaning an invisible spot on the railing. "Oh, they're here," she said. Her voice was flat. No smile. I opened my arms to hug her. She slowly stepped forward and gave me a light hug, but I could feel her body tense. "We'll stay for just a short time until we fix the house," I said quickly. "We don't want to disturb you." She forced a smile. "No, it's fine," she replied. "You can stay for now." For now. Those two words were heavy. At first, things were not too bad. They gave us a small room near the back of the house. The bed was soft. The blanket was warm. There was always food on the table. But slowly, very slowly, things changed. It started with small comments. One morning, as I washed my cup and plate, I heard Lila whisper to Daniel in the kitchen. "They leave water everywhere," she said. "Look at the floor. This is not a village house." I froze. The sponge in my hand stopped moving. "I'll talk to them," Daniel answered. He did. That night he came to our room. "Mama, Dad," he began, "you need to be more careful. Lila likes the house clean. And please, don't touch things in the fridge without asking." I looked at him. My own son. "We only took one apple each," I said quietly. "I thought it was okay." He sighed. "It's not a big deal, just ask next time, okay?" I nodded slowly. "Okay, my son." But my heart hurt. In our house, he ate anything, anytime. I never counted how many apples he took. Things went from small to big. Lila started locking some cupboards. Then she kept the best food in a special fridge in their bedroom. Sometimes, when they had visitors, she introduced us like we were far relatives, not the parents who raised him. "This is John and Grace," she would say. "They are staying with us for a while." Staying with us for a while. Like we were old bags placed in a corner. One night, I heard them arguing in their room. Their voices came through the wall. "I told you this would happen if they moved in," Lila said. "This is not a retirement home. I don't want them here forever." "They have nowhere else to go," Daniel replied. "Just give me more time." "I'm trying." "How long?" she snapped. "They are already affecting our plans. We can't travel, we can't invite our friends, we can't even relax. I'm tired." There was silence. I held my breath. My heart beat fast. Then I heard the words that shook me. Lila said very clearly, "Either we find a way to put them somewhere else, or I will leave." My chest burned. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the dark wall. Somewhere else? Where? We had no money, no house, no one to take us. Papa John sat up beside me. He placed his hand over mine and squeezed it. "Don't cry," he whispered. "I am thinking." "Thinking about what?" I asked, trying to keep my voice low. He looked at the door, then at the wall, as if he could see through it. "I will not let them throw us away like old shoes," he said. "If they try something, I have my own plan." "Plan?" I repeated. He did not answer. He only gave me a small, strange smile. The next morning, Daniel was extra kind. He brought us tea. He asked about our sleep. He even joked a little. But his eyes did not match his smile. They looked tired, worried. At lunch, Lila suddenly spoke. "Tonight, we will clean the basement," she said. "It's full of old things. We need more space." She looked straight at us. "You can help us," she added. The way she said it, my stomach turned. That night, after dinner, Daniel came to our room. "Mama, Dad," he said softly, "please come downstairs. I need your help with something in the basement." His voice was gentle, but his hands were shaking. I stood up slowly. Papa John stood too, leaning on his walking stick. We followed our son down the steps. The light grew dim. The air grew cold. When we reached the bottom, I felt a chill run through my whole body. Daniel stepped aside. We walked into the basement. The door behind us creaked. I turned around. I saw Lila standing at the top of the stairs, her hand on the light switch, her other hand near the door. She smiled. But it was not a warm smile. "Mama, Dad," Daniel said, his voice shaking. "Please, just go inside." At that moment I knew something was very, very wrong. And as we stepped further into the dark basement, I heard the door begin to close behind us. The sound of the lock turning cut through my chest like a knife. I ran to the door and pushed it with all my strength. "Daniel, open this door," I cried. From above, I heard footsteps. They were walking away. "Papa," I whispered, my voice shaking. My husband stood still in the middle of the basement. His shoulders were calm. Too calm. He did not rush to the door. He did not shout. Instead, he slowly lifted his finger and placed it on his lips. "Quiet," he whispered again. "Please. Do not make noise." I stared at him like he had lost his mind. "They locked us in," I said, shaking him. "Our own son. What are you talking about?" He took my hand and guided me away from the door. The basement was darker than I thought. Only a small yellow bulb hung from the ceiling. It flickered like it might die at any moment. There were old boxes everywhere. Dust danced in the air. The floor was cold. Wet in some places. "Sit," Papa John said softly, pointing to a wooden chair. "Sit." I almost screamed. "We need to shout. We need help." He held my face gently. "Mama Grace, trust me. Please." His eyes looked different. Focused. Strong. I swallowed my fear and sat down. My heart was beating so hard I thought it would jump out of my chest. "What secret?" I asked. "You said you have a secret." He leaned closer and lowered his voice. "This basement. It is not new to me." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "Years ago," he said, "when Daniel first bought this house, I helped him fix some things. He was busy with work. So I came alone." I remembered. He had stayed with Daniel for 2 weeks that year. He pointed to the far corner. "Behind those boxes. There is something." Before I could ask, loud footsteps sounded above us. Then Lila's voice came through the floor. "Did you lock it well?" "Yes," Daniel replied. His voice cracked. "It's locked." "Good," she said. "They need time to cool down. They will understand later." Understand? Understand being locked like animals? Tears rolled down my face, but I held my mouth shut. Papa John squeezed my hand. After some time, everything went quiet. Too quiet. No footsteps. No voices. Just the low hum of the basement bulb. Minutes passed. Then hours. My legs were numb. My back hurt. The air felt heavy. Hard to breathe. "Papa," I whispered, "we will die here." "No," he said firmly. "Not today." Slowly, painfully, he stood and walked toward the corner he pointed at earlier. He moved boxes aside, one by one. My eyes widened. Behind the boxes was a small door. I stood up quickly. A door. Yes, he said. I built it myself. My mouth opened but no words came out. Under this house, he continued, is an old storage tunnel. Long time ago, before the city grew, this area had underground paths. He pushed the small door. It opened with a soft creak. Cold air rushed out. I grabbed his arm. You knew this all along? I hoped I would never need it, he replied. Before we could step inside, we heard the basement door opening above us. Light spilled down the stairs. Lila's voice came sharp and cold. Daniel, I told you we should check on them. Old people can die easily. Her footsteps reached the stairs. Papa John quickly closed the hidden door and whispered, Sit. Act weak. The basement light flickered brighter as Lila came down the stairs. Daniel followed behind her. His face looked pale. Oh, Lila said when she saw us sitting quietly. You're calm now. Daniel avoided my eyes. Mama. Dad. Please try to understand. Understand what? I asked softly. That you locked us away? Lila crossed her arms. You were causing problems, she said. This house needs peace. Papa John coughed weakly. He slumped slightly. We are sorry, he said in a tired voice. We will behave. I almost cried again, but not from fear. From anger. Lila smiled. Good. You will stay here tonight. Tomorrow we'll talk. Here. I repeated. In the basement. It's safe, she replied. And quiet. Daniel swallowed hard. I'll bring blankets, he murmured. When they turned to leave, Papa John suddenly spoke. Daniel. Our son stopped. Do you remember, Papa John asked gently, when you were 10, and you broke your arm? Daniel nodded slowly. Yes. You cried all night, Papa John continued. And your mother stayed awake with you until morning. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. Lila grabbed his arm. Don't listen, she hissed. She pulled him up the stairs. The door slammed shut again. Silence returned. Papa John dropped the act immediately. His back straightened. His eyes became sharp again. That won't last, I whispered. She hates us. Yes, he said. And she is afraid. Afraid of what? Of the truth. He reopened the hidden door. We cannot stay here long. They may move us. Or worse. I trembled. Worse. He looked at me and said slowly, This house is not fully theirs. Before I could ask, we heard something else. A small sound. From inside the tunnel. A soft tap. 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 Like footsteps. I froze. Papa, we are not alone. From the darkness beyond the hidden door, a low voice whispered, Are you finally ready to come out? My scream caught in my throat. My heart stopped beating. The voice came again, slow and low, like it had been waiting for us for years. Are you finally ready to come out? I grabbed Papa John's arm so tight my fingers hurt. Who is that? I whispered. Papa. Who is inside there? Papa John did not answer immediately. His face was serious, not afraid. Serious, like a man remembering something he wished he could forget. He raised his walking stick and struck the floor once. Show yourself, he said quietly. The darkness inside the tunnel moved. Then a man stepped forward into the weak yellow light. He was old, maybe older than us. His hair was white and messy. His clothes were torn. His eyes were sharp, too sharp for someone who lived underground. I covered my mouth to stop myself from screaming. You're still alive, the man said, looking straight at Papa John. I wondered how long it would take. Papa John nodded slowly. So are you, he replied. I hoped I was wrong. I stared from one man to the other. You know him? I asked, my voice shaking. The strange man smiled. Know him? This house exists because of us. My knees felt weak. What does that mean? Papa John took a deep breath. His name is Samuel, he said. We worked together many years ago. Samuel laughed softly. Worked together, he repeated. That's a nice way to say it. Suddenly, footsteps sounded upstairs. Heavy. Fast. Daniel's voice shouted from above. Lila. I heard something. I think they're moving things down there. Samuel's smile disappeared. Looks like your time is short, he whispered. Papa John closed the hidden door halfway. Samuel, he said sternly, this is not the time. Samuel leaned close to me. I could smell damp earth and rust. She deserves to know, he said, pointing at me. Your husband is not as helpless as he looks. Papa, I whispered. But before he could answer, the basement door opened. Light flooded down the stairs. There! Lila shouted. I told you. They're hiding something. Daniel rushed down first. His eyes widened when he saw the boxes moved, the open hidden door, and me standing in fear. What is this? He asked. Dad. Papa John straightened his back. This house, he said calmly, was built on a lie. Lila laughed nervously. Oh please, she said. You're old and confused. Then she saw Samuel. Her face turned white. Who is that? Samuel stepped fully into the light. A man who should never have been forgotten, he replied. Daniel stepped back. I don't understand. Samuel pointed to the ground. Under this house is land that never belonged to you. Or your bank. Or your papers. Papa John looked at Daniel with deep pain in his eyes. My son, he said, I tried to protect you from this. But now, your wife has gone too far. Lila screamed. This is nonsense. Call the police. Samuel smiled. Already tried that. Years ago. Suddenly, loud sirens echoed in the distance. Daniel's face drained of color. You didn't, he whispered. Papa John nodded slowly. Yes, I did. I stared at my husband. You called the police? No, he replied. Someone else did. Samuel held up an old phone. The past doesn't stay buried forever. The sirens grew louder. Lila grabbed Daniel's arm. Listen to me, she hissed. If they find out what's under this house, we lose everything. Daniel looked at us, then at the basement door, then at the tunnel. His hands trembled. Mama, he said softly, what have you been hiding? Before I could answer, Samuel suddenly whispered. They're not coming for the house. Everyone froze. They're coming for you, Daniel. And just then, a loud knock shook the front door upstairs. Bang! 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 Police! A voice shouted. Daniel turned pale as paper. Lila screamed. Papa John leaned close to my ear and whispered, now you see the secret I told you about is only the beginning. The knocking grew louder. And above us, the front door handle began to turn. The knocking upstairs did not stop. Bang! 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 Police! Open the door. Daniel spun around, his eyes wild. Dad, what did you do? Lila grabbed his shirt, her nails digging into him. Don't listen to him. Say nothing. They have no proof, she snapped. Samuel chuckled softly. They don't knock that hard without proof. Papa John took my hand. His palm was warm, steady. My son, he said gently, this is why I told your mother to be quiet. Some secrets are louder than screams. Upstairs, we heard footsteps. Heavy boots this time. The front door creaked open. I felt my legs shake. I don't understand, I whispered. What is under this house? Papa John looked at me with eyes full of regret. Long ago, he said, before this place became a beautiful street, it was empty land. Samuel nodded. Government land, he added. Marked and protected. Daniel's mouth fell open. "You're lying," he said weakly. "The bank papers." "They were fake," Samuel cut in. "Someone changed files. Someone paid money." Lila screamed. "That's not true." Papa John raised his voice for the first time. "It is true. I helped build the first underground walls when this place was still illegal." The room went silent. "You built this?" Daniel asked. "Yes," Papa John replied. "I thought it was just storage. I didn't know the full plan at first." Samuel clenched his fists. "We were poor then," he said bitterly. "They told us it was harmless work. But people disappeared." My heart skipped. "Disappeared." Samuel pointed to the floor. "Buried records. Buried evidence. Buried lives." I covered my mouth. Papa John closed his eyes. "I walked away when I found out," he said. But Samuel stayed. He wanted proof. Samuel laughed sadly. "And I became the ghost of this place." Another loud thud echoed upstairs. "They're inside," Daniel shouted. Lila began to cry. "Do something," she begged him. "You're my husband." Daniel fell to his knees. "I only wanted a good life," he sobbed. "I didn't know." Papa John knelt beside him. "Locking your parents in a basement is not a good life." Footsteps rushed down the stairs. Flashlights cut through the dark. "There they are," a police officer shouted. I shielded my eyes. "Please, we didn't do anything," I cried. An officer helped me up gently. "Ma'am, you're safe now." Two more officers grabbed Samuel. He did not fight. Another officer turned to Papa John. "Sir," he said slowly, "we need to ask you some questions." Papa John nodded. "I will answer everything." Lila screamed. "You can't take him. He's lying." An officer looked at her. "Ma'am, we're not here because of him." She froze. "What do you mean?" The officer's voice was cold. "We're here because of a report about elderly abuse and illegal confinement." Daniel burst into tears. "Mama, I'm sorry." Lila backed away. "No, no, this is a mistake." Handcuffs clicked shut around her wrists. Papa John squeezed my hand one last time before officers led him away for questioning. "Be strong," he whispered. As they guided me upstairs, I looked back at the basement. The boxes. The hidden door. The tunnel that held too many secrets. I thought it was over. I was wrong. Because as the officers searched deeper underground, one of them shouted, "We found something else down here." Everyone froze. And Samuel, being led away, smiled and said softly, "I told you, the past doesn't stay buried." The police shout echoed from deep under the house. "We found something else down here." My heart jumped. I held the railing as they took me up the stairs, my legs weak, my mind spinning. What did they find? I asked no one in particular. No one answered. Daniel sat on the living room floor, his back against the couch, his face buried in his hands. Lila was shouting, crying, begging. Two officers held her firmly as she struggled. "I didn't hurt anyone," she screamed. "They're lying. Those old people are lying." An officer turned to her calmly. "Ma'am, please stop resisting." I felt like I was watching a bad dream. This was my son's house. This was my family. Another officer rushed upstairs, holding a small black notebook sealed in a plastic bag. "Sir," he said to his boss, "we found records. Names. Dates." My heart pounded. "Names." I whispered. Papa John was brought up from the basement then. He looked tired but steady. When he saw the notebook, his jaw tightened. "So he kept it," he murmured. "Kept what?" the officer asked. Samuel, still in handcuffs, raised his head. "Proof," he said. Daniel looked up at him. "You were living under my house?" Samuel nodded slowly. Watching. Waiting. The officer flipped through the notebook. These names match missing persons reports from years ago. The room went silent. Even Lila stopped screaming. I felt my chest tighten. Papa, how many? I asked, barely breathing. Papa John closed his eyes. Too many, he replied. Suddenly, an officer ran in again, his face pale. There's another door, he said. Hidden deeper in the tunnel. Another door. My knees nearly gave out. Is it locked? The chief asked. Yes, the officer replied. And there's a smell. A heavy silence fell over the room. Lila began to shake. I don't know anything about that, she whispered. I swear. Samuel laughed without humor. That door was sealed before this house was sold. Daniel stood up slowly. Then why is it opening now? Everyone looked at Papa John. He shook his head. I didn't build that one. The officers moved fast. We're opening it, the chief said. As they took us outside for safety, the night air hit my face. Blue and red lights painted the street. Neighbors stood at their windows, watching. I wrapped my arms around myself. My son will never forgive me, I whispered. Papa John looked at me. He already chose, he said softly. From inside the house, we heard a loud metal sound. Clang. Then, silence. Seconds passed. Long, heavy seconds. Suddenly, a scream came from underground. Not fear, shock. Officers rushed out of the house. One of them was shaking. What is it? The chief demanded. The officer swallowed hard. It's not just records, he said. It's evidence they never destroyed. Daniel fell to his knees again. My God. Samuel closed his eyes. They'll finally know. I looked at my husband. What will happen to us? I asked. He squeezed my hand. We will tell the truth. That is all. Before anyone could speak again, another officer ran out shouting. Sir. Someone else is down there. Alive. My breath caught in my throat. Alive. I repeated. The officer nodded slowly. Yes. And they've been trapped for a very long time. Everyone froze. And from deep beneath my son's house, we heard a weak voice rise up through the ground. Please, don't close the door again. The weak voice echoed out of the house like a ghost asking for mercy. Please, don't close the door again. My heart broke in two. I covered my mouth and began to cry. Someone is alive down there, I whispered. Papa, did you hear that? Papa John nodded slowly, his face pale. Yes, he said. I prayed this voice would never come. Police rushed back inside. Paramedics followed close behind. Daniel stood frozen, staring at the ground like it might open and swallow him. I didn't know, he kept repeating. I swear. I didn't know. Lila screamed suddenly, her voice sharp and angry. This is not my fault. I didn't build this house. An officer turned to her. But you locked two helpless elders in the basement, he said firmly. She went quiet. Minutes later, the officers came back out. Slowly. Between them was a stretcher. On it lay a thin man. So thin I could see his bones through his skin. His eyes were open, but tired, like someone who had stared at darkness for too long. I gasped. Oh my God. The man lifted his hand weakly. Light, he whispered. The paramedic bent close. You're safe now, she said. You're coming with us. Samuel fell to his knees when he saw the man. You survived, he whispered. After all this time. The man slowly turned his head. Samuel, he asked. Yes, Samuel cried. It's me. Tears fell freely down my face. How long? I asked softly. The paramedic looked at us. Based on what he's saying, she replied, years. He was moved underground and forgotten. Daniel screamed and held his head. My house, he sobbed. My house was a prison. Papa John looked at him with pain, not anger. Evil does not always look like a monster, he said. Sometimes it looks like comfort and silence. The man on the stretcher opened his eyes again and looked straight at Papa John. You, he said weakly. You left. Papa John froze. You promised you would come back, the man continued. My heart stopped. Papa. I whispered. Papa John's voice shook. I tried, he said. They were watching me. I had no proof back then. The man turned his face away in pain. But you lived free, he whispered, while we stayed buried. Police officers exchanged looks. Sir, one officer said to Papa John, we'll need a full statement. Papa John nodded. I will give it. As the ambulance doors closed, Daniel suddenly ran toward me and dropped to his knees. Mama, he cried, grabbing my legs. Please forgive me. I didn't know. She told me it was for safety. She said you would be fine. I looked at my son. The boy I raised. The man who locked us away. Before I could answer, an officer stepped forward and said, Sir, we found video recordings. Daniel froze. Recordings? He asked. The officer nodded. Hidden cameras. Downstairs. Lila began screaming again. No. That's impossible. The officer turned to Daniel slowly. They show who knew. And who gave the orders. Daniel's face went white. And I realized then. This nightmare was not finished. Because the truth was about to choose its side. The night air felt heavy as the police wheeled out a small table and a laptop onto the front lawn. Blue and red lights flashed across trembling faces. Neighbors whispered. Phones recorded. We're going to review part of the footage, an officer announced. Daniel stood frozen. Lila screamed and tried to pull away, but the handcuffs held tight. No. You can't show that, she shouted. The officer ignored her and opened the laptop. The screen lit up. I held Papa John's hand. It was shaking now, for the first time that night. The video began. It showed the basement. The same basement where we had been locked. On the screen, I saw myself and Papa John walking down the stairs earlier that day. My own voice played back, scared and confused. I felt sick. Then the video jumped to an older date. Weeks earlier. Lila appeared on the screen, standing with Daniel in the basement. She was pointing at the floor. This space is perfect, she said in the video. No windows. No one hears anything down here. My heart dropped. Daniel's recorded voice answered. But my parents. They are old, Lila snapped on the screen. No one asks questions about old people. A police officer paused the video. Daniel screamed. Stop it. But the officer pressed play again. Another clip. Lila alone. Speaking on the phone. Yes, she said calmly. They'll be locked in tonight. No one will know. Old people sleep all the time. I felt like my chest was being crushed. Daniel fell flat on the ground. I didn't know it would go this far, he sobbed. But the video wasn't done. The last clip began. Daniel was on the screen again. Alone. Standing in the basement. Holding the key. I'm sorry, Mama, his recorded voice said. This is just for a little while. I screamed. Not loud, but from deep inside. Papa John closed his eyes. The laptop snapped shut. This footage confirms intentional imprisonment, the officer said firmly. And knowledge of illegal confinement beneath the property. Lila collapsed. Daniel remained on the ground, broken. An officer turned to me. Ma'am, do you wish to press charges? I opened my mouth to speak. But Papa John suddenly squeezed my hand hard. Mama Grace, he whispered urgently. I looked at him. What? He leaned close, his voice low and tight. There's something missing. Missing. I whispered. The final recording, he said. The one Samuel told me about. Before I could ask more, Samuel shouted from the police car. You didn't show them the last one. Everyone turned. The officer frowned and reopened the laptop. There was one corrupted file, he said. We couldn't open it. Samuel laughed slowly. It's not corrupted, he said. It's protected. Papa John's eyes widened. Then you know, he whispered. Samuel nodded. That file shows the real owner of the secret under this house. Daniel raised his head slowly. What secret? Samuel smiled darkly. The one that explains why your parents were meant to disappear tonight. The police chief's voice went sharp. Open it. Now. A tech officer began typing fast. The screen flickered, then lit up again. And what appeared on the screen made my blood turn cold. Because it showed a familiar face. Not Lila. Not Daniel. Someone we all trusted. Someone who had been standing free this entire time. I gasped and whispered. No, it can't be. The screen froze on the face we all knew. A face I had trusted for years. I felt my knees give way. No, it can't be, I whispered again. On the screen was the family lawyer. The same man who helped Daniel buy the house. The same man who smiled at me and called me Mama. The video played. He was sitting at a desk, calm, confident. This basement stays sealed, he said on the recording. If those old people ever become a problem, the tunnel solves it. I screamed. My voice cracked the night open. That man. I cried. He helped us. He ate in our house. Samuel spoke from the police car, his voice heavy. He was the architect. The tunnels. The fake papers. The silence. The lawyer's voice continued on the recording. No witnesses grow old down there. Daniel crawled forward on the ground. No, he told me it was legal, he sobbed. He said my parents would just be kept safe. An officer slammed the laptop shut. That's enough. Sirens filled the street again. New ones. Another police car arrived. The lawyer was arrested at his home 10 minutes ago, an officer announced. Lila screamed in rage. You ruined everything. The officer looked at her coldly. No. You did. Daniel was lifted to his feet, handcuffed, shaking. As they led him away, he turned to me with tears in his eyes. Mama, he whispered. I lost my way. I looked at my son. And for the first time, I did not run to him. I raised you to protect the weak, I said softly. Not to bury them. He broke down completely as they took him away. Papa John wrapped his arm around me. We survived, he whispered. That was the secret. I leaned into him and cried, not from fear, but from truth. The house was sealed. The tunnels closed forever. The secrets came into the light. And 2 old parents walked away alive. My dear viewer, if this story touched your heart, please like this video so others can learn from it. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more powerful, emotional stories. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? Your voice matters. Just like ours did, when we finally spoke.